It is little known among scholars of the Sabbat that Sascha Vykos, the infamous Fiend, was born Myka Vykos, a noble in the Carpathian Mountains from an old Roman family that had settled there after the tumult of the fall of the empire. In that grey period where the Byzantines were the inheritors of Rome and barbarians ruled in the city itself. A talented hermetic, his skill and prowess led him to form an unbalanced rivalry with Goratrix, a chancellor of the now risen Tremere clan. Goratrix, in a desire to destroy this up-and-comer, sent him afield into the path of a Tzimisce traveling caravan, a group of fiends that he assumed would destroy the young man once and for all. But little did he know that those Tzimisce that he had scouted were Obertuse, not Carpathians, creatures who were invested in the understanding of all knowledge, and including thaumaturgy, and that they would see young Myka and his burgeoning hermetic talent as a boon to be preserved instead of an enemy to be destroyed. Once he had undergone a torturous embrace that destroyed his awakened avatar, his sire, Simeon realized that the thing he had found precious in him was now gone, and he was cast aside as a simple scribe. At least, that is how his story begins. Hello and welcome, Canaanites, kindred, and other children of the night. We are here for the first time with Myka Vykos, our Tzimisce upstart. This is the dream. This is Constantinople at its height. This is the place that three lovers, three vampires, disenfranchised, newly converted to Christianity, and ready to create a Christian vampiric utopia, went to begin their reign. This is where our middle-aged, I would say he is an old ancilla, not quite an elder yet, Myka Vykos, spent most of his early years as a Canaanite. Who is he? Who is our young Tzimisce? Well, let's talk a little bit about him. We are going to use the introductory sections to talk about his extensive backstory and maybe at some point his future. But we do need to go over a little bit about him so that we can understand who he is. His sire is Simeon Jesudin Sin Drakorov, the child of his own brother, Jesu the Saint, child of the Drakon, one of the three patriarchs of the Constantinople dream. He was raised and prepared to become the child of Antonius, the Ventru, another of the patriarchs. But Jesu would not allow his brother to be taken from him and embraced him, creating the beginning of a schism between the Ventru and the Tzimisce that would eventually result in the collapse of the entire dream. The architect of the dream, one of the most powerful vampires in Europe at the time, was Michael. Let's take a moment, let's find Michael. Michael Nephilim, the patriarch of Constantinople, the glass angel. Michael fell quite recently, but his downfall was long, and Constantinople's decline was gradual. The Drakon, the patriarch of the Tzimisce, fled long before his fall, and Antonio betrayed his lover in a movement known as the Iconoclast movement, and was eventually killed by two of his own children. This, though, is history. Constantinople fell 25 years ago, and we have been trying to find a way to make a life for ourselves elsewhere. So now we find ourselves in Poland. Or what will one day be Poland. In our Obertuse Akametoi. Obertuse are a specific kind of Tzimisce that come from Constantinople. They are monks and scholars by nature, and they are the intellectual philosophers of the dream. They served under the Drakon there, and they focused on creating a world that was more beautiful and more aligned with Michael's faith and the dream of a vampiric utopia. Myka here, though, he never really engaged deeply with that. He was part of a very deep scheme that we're going to not talk too much about in this episode, but it's fair to say he spent very little time advancing his own political aspirations, and much of his time interacting with vampires much more powerful than himself. When Constantinople fell, the Obertuse were scattered, being traditionally antagonistic towards their Carpathian brothers. They didn't find many places where they could settle and continue. But Myka, using the influence of his powerful sire, came north and offered to be a mediator of sorts, a safe border, a treaty zone between the various Tzimisce of Poland and the Voivodate and the venture of the Black Cross. The Voivodate has been having many difficulties in the last few centuries. The Council of Ashes and the Eastern Lords are both factions of the venture that have made enormous incursions into what was once undisputed Tzimisce territory, taking advantage of the chaos that has been created by the presence of House Tremere, Clan Tremere now. The Tzimisce have had a hard time maintaining their territory because of their endless war with the Tremere, and so they have lost a great deal to opportunistic venture. In the north, the Black Cross reaches further east, and the Obertuse, seen by both sides as being relatively neutral, have formed a sort of border territory. At least, that's the story. The fact is, Myka is looking mostly out for himself. Having recently deviated from his Nodist path origins, he is now on Pekati, a very selfish version of the Road of Sins, where you control your beast basically by feeding it, by following its impulses and living the life that it leads you towards. His lover is also on Sin. In canon, also his teacher on Sin is on the path of Voluptarius, which is a more carnal, hedonistic style Sin path. They are soulmates. I have the can marry and take same-sex concubines turned on for this game because it seems appropriate for this character. It still obeys religious rules, but most vampires are pretty open about equality among those things, so, you know, we have the ability to take male concubines and potentially a male spouse. We may not take a spouse at all. We do have our promise, of course, of eternal love to Elias Selfumos, the Beautiful, our guide on the path of sin. Of course, like everything else, our path of sin is much more pragmatic than his. Our path of sin isn't about being able to take part in any pleasure. It is about being able to do all the things that we desire without anybody stopping us. The beast is not our enemy, it's our ally. We follow our whims because then it will be sated, and if it's sated, it won't destroy us. That is our path. That is who we are. The various vampiric leaders around us think that this territory is mostly led by our sire, Simeon, but Simeon is, he is in decline. He's probably moving towards torpor, and he is no longer participating as much as he once did, so although he holds more territory than we do, he is not in charge. which serves us very well. Let's just unpause and get started with Myka's story. Alright. Pray. We are going to... Now, I adjusted the character sheet for Myka here. I'll variously call him Myka and Myka depending on which era of me playing this game. It was pronounced different ways to me. I think that I prefer Myka Vykos to Myka Vykos, but Myka Vykos is probably more accurate. Anyway. I took his thaumaturgy away and gave him Auspex. That's because I'm trying to create a more Transylvania Chronicles start for Myka here. We're trying to get him back to his origins. In his origin story, he had a rivalry with not a rivalry, that's unfair, because he was very small and Goratrix was very big. Basically, he was very accomplished and Goratrix didn't like it, so he tried to get him killed, but instead it resulted in his embrace. He envies Tremere magic. He doesn't really have Coldonic sorcery because he's not a traditional Tzimisce and won't be for many years yet. His contact with other traditional Tzimisce is very much just starting now. So he had no opportunity to really become a Coldon, although his lover is a Coldon, and that makes sense because he is a sort of a priest, worshipper of the carnal, follower of an old god. Myka doesn't have Coldonic sorcery, so they originally gave him thaumaturgy, but I removed it and replaced it with Auspex. This is based on his character sheet from Transylvania Chronicles 2, where he has 3 disciplines at level 3, being Vicissitude, Auspex, and Dominate, and then a spattering of disciplines at level 2. We're going to take one of those disciplines right now. We're going to go Charm. We're going to make him a Siren. So a vampire who seduces lovers to drain their blood. There's going to be a Siren, which is very appropriate to his character style during this era, which will give him Presence, another one of the disciplines he had in his original character sheet. So he's only really missing his touch of celerity now, which this is pretty close to what he actually has on that character sheet as it can be represented in this game, which I like. So that's the one change on his character from how it looks when you just pick it up and play it. New fate for the old land. Traditionally a frontier of the Tzimisce Voivodate, home to the more eccentric fiends, Poland is coming into its own separate entity. The crumbling authority of the voivodes and their utter anachronism has allowed a new generation of vampires to take hold and prosper. First among them is Yitzhak ben Avram, a devout Bruja gathering followers around Krakow to expel the bygone prince Razkolzhina. This could be the first step towards a Poland free of Tzimisce's influence. But greater challenges await, most notably ousting the utter abomination that is Hadon Yarsovich, a Tzimisce considered extreme even by his own peers. So this is the monster among monsters. He is a pretty significant Tzimisce in the region in the north here. We're going to talk more about him as he comes up, depending on whether he becomes friend or foe. It's very likely that we will hopefully become at least ostensibly allied with him. The likelihood that we become true allies is, well, it's up to the game, really. It's not something we can influence too much, but we're not going to go into him too much. Just, he's a monster. Other Tzimisce even consider him a monster. And then we have this guy. He's a Jewish Bruja. He's trying to basically form a realm here and help push out the Tzimisce from the area without bowing to the Ventru. He's another character that for us wouldn't necessarily be an enemy, but also not really guaranteed to be a friend. What is this trait? Oh, he has True Faith. That's cool. And the last person mentioned in that little bit there, we'll pause this so the next one doesn't pop up, is Razkolzhina. She is the former, basically, overlord of this entire region, but her domain is sort of cracking apart. She may recover it. She may not. Jedek the Scholar was a tyrannical lord. He used to control much of this area himself before his child took over for him. She's just not been able to hold it to the degree that he did. And that is the lore start to this. Got a lot of interesting characters around us. Down here in Bohemia, we have this Tzimisce here. We border in the south with House Tremere, specifically this guy, Regent Grimgroth. He is one of the more powerful among the Tremere, but he is the youngest, I would say, of this like true strong older Tremere. Of course, he is the child of Tremere himself, the last and most recently embraced child of Tremere himself. We have a rival in the form of Regent Celestine. This is the, I think, yeah, this is the child of Etrius. He's going to have an important role in the future, especially as we approach the formation of the Camarilla, as will we. We also have a second rival. This guy here, this Tzimisce. Velia the Flare. He's someone that we're going to need to keep an eye on as well. He's another pretty significant character in the region. And of course, House Tremere. It's run by Tremere Council, specifically as represented by Etrius. We have something of a false rivalry over here in France with Goratrix. Goratrix is the reason we were embraced, but he's also the reason that we lost our destiny as becoming a Tremere Magi. We do want Tremere Thaumaturgy specifically. That is a goal of ours. We are not looking to become a Gul'dan. We're looking to become a Hermetic, because that is the tradition we were trained in when we were alive. Gul'danic sorcery is not really our thing. Someday, we want to rival the Tremere in their own practice. Not yet, though. We're a little too young for that. The people in our territory, we have basically, I would say, 3 groups of people. Okay? The first group of people is us and our lover, who are basically pretending that we are still associated with the Obertuse monks. The Akamentoi are a group of monks that believe, they're a type of monk that believes in 24-hour worship, so they would do like a ship does, so they would do different shifts so that there would be people awake and worshiping God at all times of the day, which is a very appropriate kind of monastery for vampires to exist in. Because it would make sense that they would be up and active in the middle of the night because it's part of their particular religious belief system. The Obertuse are, as I said before, a specific group of Tzimisce monks that are that honor Michael's dream, and we are basically the remainder of them. We have our sire and many of the people who are under him who are still very much nodist, vampire researching monks. And then we have a few people who fled with us. So this guy would fit more into the category of what we are, which is basically, well, he's a revenant, so he's not really important. But then down here in the south, we have 2 Nephilim, which are Michaelite faithful. They actually follow the version of the Path of Heaven that holds Michael as being it's basically its founder and its prophet. This is going to create conflict because these people are going to unresolvably not like us. Our sire is manageable if we keep him on the council, but the Nephilim are not going to like us. It's just very little we can do to make them like us, and we're not in a position where we can just kick them out right now. Let's just then move from our little introduction to, that was not little, our setup. So potential alliances with our sire. Won't do it. With our brother, won't do it. That's fine. Not too interested in that either. We can grant vassals to our brother, to our sire, but I want to keep. I want this to develop naturally. I don't want to force it. I wouldn't put those people directly under my sire by my choice. If he wars for them or takes them, that's one thing, but I wouldn't do it by my choice. So we have a small unit of ghouls and a small unit of bowmen. Tzimisce have a building that makes ghouls really strong, but I don't think we have one yet. And they're very expensive money-wise. It's called the Flesh Cathedral, I think. So we only get the Sanctuary of the Flesh if they actually complete all of this. Hopefully they do. They have enough points to, but they don't always. Sometimes they split off, depending on who handles it. But we want this. This gives us the ability to create Slotja without having the higher levels of vicissitude. This does the same. Those men-at-arms can also be gained through vicissitude. But we'll get them through the legacies probably way before we get them through vicissitude, that's for sure. Right, I got myself lost. I was gonna deal with my council. That's right. So looking at our council here, of course our sire, the the Ventru candidate, is our steward. He is an excellent steward, and it's good that he's there. This guy is terrible. Guy is okay, but he's gonna hate us no matter what, and I'd really rather put my own lover there. That should just immediately help things out, which is good. Down here, she doesn't like us either. I have this woman as an alternative. This is... oh yeah, this is the unusual lady. She is she's an Artemis worshiper, isn't she? Like, as in the Artemis, Ventru bloodline. Yeah. So, she fell battling Carthage, and they try to follow in her footsteps. She's an interesting person to have up here. We're gonna actually make her our marshal, because it might make her manageable. She could be hard to manage because her religion and our religion are not compatible. She's a zealot too, which is a bit of a problem. We're gonna have a lot of problems, really, with people. It's just a thing that's gonna happen. There's not much we can say. This guy is passable, but I'd rather find someone better. There is nobody better here right now. So, I think we're gonna try to make him our priest. He's a cooldown. If he'll change over to sin, then we'll make him the priest. He probably will. Okay, that's good. Now let's look at our court. So we have a lot of guests. What the hell are you? What did you do to yourself? I mean, that's pretty cool, but... they'll make a good vassal. Person is a competent fighter. He's a Bruja. He's of the right religion. I think we're just going to immediately recruit him. So you can no longer do the Herdify thing, which I think is great. They have to already be your courtier to be a Herdify target now. So you can no longer use Herdify to force people into your domain from your guest list. And you also can no longer use Herdify to force people into your domain from like other locations by traveling to them. That's good. It's like, I'm glad this works like this now. I don't know when this changed. It might have changed quite some time ago. A lot of the rules didn't update in my old broken save, so, you know. But we don't believe in blood bonding. We don't do it. We don't like it. That's why it costs us faith to do it. We don't like it. So most likely we're just going to have to recruit him the old-fashioned way with a bribe. Anybody here who would be a good spy master? No. Alternatively, we could grab someone who we could marry, right? I mean, she's so cool looking. I want to keep her around just because she's cool looking. She's on our religion, which means we can use her to marry people in. One of the things about our religion is because they can marry, so we can use them to draw people here. How much does she want? 15? Ah, she's worth it for 15. That cool look, yeah, we'll keep her. We'll keep her around for 15. That's 2 more people in. That should help us a bit. Let's do our education now. We start on learning with Scholar completed. We have no vampiric powers, which I think is a good representation of the way we spent our last 200 years. Both as part of a strange plot and also studying and copying books for our masters. We're going to break away from that now, for sure. I think we're going to push into intrigue. We have a lot of interest in both Torturer and Seducer. I'd love to get Dark Insights early. But then everything under Seducer we would do. So that's good. I think we might even just fill this whole thing. This might just be a focus of the entire game. We'll fill the whole thing. We'll take Skullduggery. I think the one flat point and the agent acceptance is the best of these three. The dread is good. Attraction opinion isn't bad either. But we'll take the, we're going to take the Skullduggery focus anyway. As for herd, we're not going to have much choice over our herd because we can only really herdify people who are in our domain as courtiers already. And that is not a lot of people. Most people are guests these days. So, let's see. You know, maybe we should just do a marriage out. We don't need Toreador anymore. We need court. We need adult. We need gender all, marital status, unmarried. We have these people unmarried. We have not a single mortal court here. Are you kidding me? Who are we supposed to herdify if we have no mortal courtiers? We're gonna have to finagle people over here. I mean, there is a way we could do it if they'll let us. We don't even have people to feed from. We're gonna have to generate people to feed from. I don't even know who this guy is. Oh, we have. He is a mortal. He's a he's an actual revenant. He's a Xantovich. Okay. Revenant herd are actually particularly good. We want the possibility for him to make children with this woman. This 17-year-old woman. She is not a good warrior. I'm glad we're taking her away from that life. They will have kids, that's for sure. And I can add her to my herd immediately, which would be nice too. So yep, that's good. You can come and join us. I will then herdify him. He is naked because he is voluptuous and he's zealous, and they have naked when zealous. That's also why our lover is naked, by the way. So let's just let these things start to click through. Your story so far. Lord Myka, your clever move during the recent peace treaty resulted in your Obertuse order being established as a buffer state between the German Ventrue and your clanmates to the east. This position is insecure, though, and much still needs to be done. You also recently learned that Nikita of Serdez, the Archbishop of Nod, might be related to one of the most closely guarded secrets of Clan Tzimisce. Your scholarly mind can't resist the allure of such a find, but you will have to storm Nikita's city to learn more, which might be a daunting prospect. As always, take care to balance your intellectual pursuits with your more secular ambitions. This has always been your own path to greatness. Yes, okay, so this guy did convert. That's good, because we can immediately make him the priest. Who do I have who could be here? I mean, you could do it. I have you do it instead. Neither of these two people are worthwhile. We are a king title, by the way, although it is a very weak kingdom. Foremost, Heteria. A healthy rivalry between meddlesome fighters is to be expected, but the growing discord between Tzimisce, this guy, this Bruja, and Belisarios. Ooh, we got a lot of sinful Bruja. That's a thing. I don't want either of them to die. I need them both, so we will give them training blades. Basically, we say fists only, dudes. Just wrestle. Wrestle like it's the ancient days, alright? Good. Just please. Please, no killing. We need you both. You're both, right now, useful to me. Let's see who else we can marry off. So we're going to find a spouse for you. Obviously, you're not going to marry a revenant. That would be silly. Do we have anybody? Can we find anybody who would be a good spy master in range? No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, she's better than you. Let's see who else we've got in here. So let's go to unmarried adult. So this is our people. This is fine. We already found you a spouse, right? Yeah. 2 Bruja and this weird-looking Tzimisce lady. I am gonna find her a spouse. Maybe she'll be able to find me a... Oh! Okay... I mean, she herself... He himself? Is this a man? This gotta be a man, right? I thought this was a woman, but this is totally a man. I've actually forgot where you look. No, this is a heterosexual female. Right. We don't want all female anymore. That's not a thing. Yeah, we could marry her ourselves, but that wouldn't bring us a spy master. This 17-year-old baby vampire. Any of these 11s would do. But this guy... What is your clan, sir? Oh, you're a Ravnos. A Ravnos, eh? You do better in the job we're giving you than the one you started in, and I just love the idea of you being married to this crazy woman. You want to join us, bud? You want to join us? Let's do it. Get in here. Get in here, Iolonius. Alright, I'm going to switch you immediately over to this guy. Assign him. Nice. I feel pretty good about that. We can marry some more vampires in. The biggest problem we're going to have is getting humans. And we're not doing that. Don't care about them. We'll have to deal with them in time. Suppose I should like station these guys anyway. Go there. You can go there. Who else are we going to marry our people to? It's weird that we spent so much money at the beginning on inviting guests. I need to fill my herd out. Should I maybe, like, grab another one of these people? Like an actual human? Any of these people even worthwhile to me? Like someone I might train? She's a guest. He's a guest. I mean, I feel like you are the best one, the Hail Lady, and that might be good for just breeding stock, bringing people in, so we'll bring her into the court. We need to marry her to somebody. An innocent as well. Maybe with an inheritable trait. She's still young enough that she will have kids. We could try to reinforce her existing trait. She's Greek, and so are we. Is he good for anything? Not really. I mean, they might make good children eventually. Let's do this. Good. So that gives us some herdifying targets. So much money lost. Dynasty head has changed, so it is now you, is it? Okay. What a face. I love it. What style you have, sir. The Wild Woman. How have you not heard of her, my lord? I roll my eyes and grunt dismissively. To say the flights of fancy of Petrus were beneath me right now would be an understatement. They say she has an open challenge to anyone, my lord. Petrus tries again, insistent this time, lowering his voice conspiratorially. He continues. Listen, I know you tire of all the matrimonial questions. This woman offers her hand in marriage to anyone who can best her in physical ability. I sit back and consider the story. A martial-minded woman? I want to do this. All right, we'll take a look. We'll take a look. We'll see. You know, we'll see who she is. Thank you. Coterie-wise, we're going to create a coterie. I'm not going to give it a special name. I might come up with one later or take suggestions for this wonderful fiend. But for right now, we're just going to use the default. I want to immediately add my lover. And I also want to add my sire. There. That's a pretty strong starting coterie, I would say. We don't have good prowess. I could also add one of my courtiers, like one of my Bruja. Look at my knights here. That's another thing we have to do. Do this countess. You know what? I think we're actually fine with... what is she? She's a venture. I have no interest in her. We did say we want to try to maintain good relations with her. No. Not right now. We'll worry about that later. But we will do accolade. So we're looking for an interesting accolade. So he's Valiant and Blood Reaver. What does Blood Reaver do? Enemy fatal casualties. Interesting. The third choice, he has Stalwart. You know, just a straight old-fashioned Valiant Stalwart might be good. As a start. Like that. Okay, nice eye. I like it. I do. I actually really like that. Nice eye. I'm just very happy with that eye. Good job. But I think it's going to be this guy. Create this accolade. Got a successor for you. We don't. Hopefully we find one soon. Hopefully you don't die. Would be actually what we would prefer. That's a fine successor. The Bruising Bride. So how good is she? She is actually not really great. I mean, 81% chance I defeat her in the prowess challenge. I could spend some blood on it. She's actually not terrible, to be fair. I don't want to marry her. I don't want to marry her. Like, I'm not into that. But I could betroth her. I could hertify her. We can invite her to our court. Annoying company. I am comfortably soaking at the bathhouse, finally getting some well-deserved downtime when a grating voice from somewhere nearby interrupts my tranquil thoughts. Did you see that ridiculously tiny... A little further into the room, I spot Regent Celest... Oh, I want him dead now. Do I really? I'm probably overreacting. I mean, he is a despicable Tremere. Is this like vicissitude advice or something? Is he suggesting maybe once I learn it, I should stretch it? I don't know. Is he saying that makes me undersized for Tzimisce? I'm probably overreacting. No, he'll pay for this. That's a thing now. He's gonna try to murder me. I'm not gonna make it through the year. I'll pay for her travel expenses. Do I really want to? She'll accept anyway. Why did I even click that? Okay, so we're now betrothed. Now that she's arrived at my court, we're going to keep her betrothed to me until I hertify her. And then I'm going to make her a concubine. Maybe we'll embrace her later. Probably make her a ghoul. Not really sure, but we're definitely not marrying her. That's not happening. I mean, we'll start a feud with her tiny house. That's hilarious. I mean, I don't think that matters. Do we think this matters? No, I don't think so. Does she even have a house? Like, is she just one person? Yeah, she's just one person. I mean, there's no tyranny in this. I spend all of my fame to get rid of this. For the acquisition of this singular mortal that I don't even need. Frickin' hell. This whole thing was a mistake. I don't know what I was doing. Look, I had ideas. I had thoughts. It's fine. Those thoughts and ideas, they're past now. It's okay. What? I'm gonna hold court, I think, to end this episode off. Sitting on my throne, I gesture for my guards to open the doors of the hall. A stream of people file in, some lining up in front of my throne, while others move out of the way so they can simply observe the proceedings. Gesture for the first in line to approach. My lord, I represent the religious community of Legentia. While rummaging through our modest archive, we have come across a very peculiar book. The cover was dusty, the binding was fragile, and the pages were yellowed by time. But it contained the most unusual drawings, and the script itself was unknown to us all. We are certain it is unique in the world, a long-lost vault of knowledge, a true treasure. That is why we offer it to you. Perhaps it's the original copy of The Will of Ignorance, or a memoir from the world's creation. Thanks, mysterious book. Let's have a look at it right now. So this will increase our learning, which we absolutely want to do. Who cares about books? We care about books. Let's look at it right now. 1 learning, 75 prestige. Very nice. A thin and raggedy peasant stands before me, gawking at the opulence of my throne room. Obviously distracted, I call her to get her attention. Oh, sorry, my lord. The village of Berzeg was hit by blight this year. We lost not only our crap, but our seed too. You shall pay your If the fields are barren, you shall wield a sword. I don't know if I can afford 20% holding taxes. I don't have pleased peasants. Free labor? I'm gonna do this. If I gotta spend 15 gold, it's gonna be worth it. As soon as it is his turn to speak, the agitated man in front of me screams, "The end is nigh! The signs are clear everywhere! The people of County Sporatu know it too well. Disorder, bandits, thieves, the world is about to, as we know it, is about to come to an end." Okay, but we don't believe in that kind of stuff. It's not Gehenna, dude. It's celebration time. I don't know what you think, you Toreador. I'm not firing my dude for you. Abstaining from wine. I don't really drink wine. Take this fool out of my sight. I could burn him. I think he's a raving heretic. This is a time for celebration, not a time for foolish quackery and strange thoughts. We are at the heart of our vampiric power. It is definitely not the end times yet, sir. I think we might finish this off instead of ending the episode now. We'll just let this die out. Good. Things are going pretty well. I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking with her, you know. I had thoughts. I had feelings. I thought maybe we could just break the betrothal and keep her around. I mean, she's not terrible. Let's see how tasty her blood is. If her blood is tasty, we'll go through the expensive plan, I think. Growing herd. Another sheep joins my herd. Thank you, sir. Tasty. Show Count Ilias sell Formosan at once, of course. Come in. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, my lover, for coming and swearing your fealty to me. I am glad for the visit. I'm always glad for a visit. Now, I want to go to me. I want to go to her, and I want to herdify her. We'll cancel the herdify if the hunt doesn't go well. So she is sanguine. Do we even... Oh, we have presence. Presence is under sanguine. So we can drink her completely. Solves the whole problem right now. You know? Just makes the whole thing go away. I kind of want to. I'm tempted to just eat her. Just have it done. I'm also tempted... Just such a waste of prestige. We're gonna eat her. Oh no! Oh no! The strange woman I promised to marry has died. Whatever will I do? Huh? Who could have killed her? What a tragedy. Damn it. Can't pay for the grand wedding now. That's so tragic. Let's herdify this woman. She seems like a suitable candidate to join my herd. Well, with that, I think we're going to bring this episode to an end. Young Myka, well, not young, middle-aged Myka has sort of solidified himself in his position and how he's going to handle things here. He's looking a little sated right now. We have no disciplines, so hopefully we can develop a herd that's actually worthwhile. Our first herd member is phlegmatic. I don't even think we need phlegmatic. It's going to be a little tough. We're going to have to hunt basically constantly, which is fine. Hunting is fine. I wanted to look at my disciplines before we shut this off. I have presence. Oh, I have dominate and auspex. Yeah, phlegmatic is great. That is perfectly acceptable. Oh, you gorgeous, gorgeous man. Look at you. All right then. Thank you for watching. Goodbye for now.